Welcome back to my channel. Reading opens worlds. An old world spectre resurrects within the network, millions of copies of itself, replicating wildly. Let us enter China 2185, Season 2. Chapter 1. The Supreme Executive stood before the holographic image of the national territory. Addressing all citizens once more, the image hung before her. The contours of mountains and rivers glowed, passing through her chest. She did not look at the camera. The camera was filming her. She said, "Fellow citizens of the nation, in 35 minutes, our country may suffer a large-scale nuclear strike, adding the flight time before the first wave of nuclear warheads arrives. We have only about 1 hour left." She paused. "I hereby order, on behalf of the National State of Emergency Committee, begin immediate national evacuation. All of our country's nuclear shelters can only accommodate 200 million people, that is, 1/10 of the national population. According to our nation's traditions, when disaster strikes, safety is always given to the eldest. I believe everyone wishes to do so now. But if that happens, what will be left to us after the nuclear catastrophe will be a nation of only 200 million people, 200 years old or older. Everyone understands what this means for the survival of our country and nation. I ask the elderly, let the children and young people enter the shelters. All children and young people, please enter the shelters. Please survive. If you die, our nation truly dies. But if you survive, our republic, our nation, will be reborn like a phoenix rising from the flames of nirvana. I hereby order, on behalf of the National State of Emergency Committee, all group armies, all local troops, and armed police forces, quickly seize the entrances to all shelters. All entrances shall only permit children and young people to enter. If there are mass violations disregarding armed forces orders, you may open fire. Fellow citizens, the fate of our country and nation rests in your hands. I ask you once more, my republic, I beg you, save the children." The image faded. In the night, the Supreme Executive's orders were carried out silently, swiftly, no complaints, no riots. The great spirit of sacrifice of this nation manifested across the vast territory. Meanwhile, the replicant began entering the memory space, where software executed operations within the main network. The main computer network faced total collapse. The Supreme Executive understood that she had to go and execute the power cutoff. No matter how powerful the software nuclear bomb was while alive, once the current disappeared for a single millisecond, it would become nothing but a pile of lifeless silicon chips. A nationwide power outage would also be a heavy blow to the nation. A partial power outage was useless. As long as a single device with sufficient memory remained, the software nuclear bomb could reoccupy the area once power was restored to the blacked-out sections. Therefore, it had to be a unified nationwide power outage, followed by physically replacing all contaminated hardware. But if it came to this, the nation's entire operational industrial system would completely lose control. Most thermal and hydroelectric generators would suddenly shed their load, in the resulting overspeed chaos. Blast furnace after blast furnace would twist into solid iron masses. Chemical plant after chemical plant would explode, spreading poison gas in all directions, and the financial and medical systems, they too would fall into shock under the power outage. This was a secret on par with strategic nuclear counterstrikes. Only the Supreme Executive had the authority to activate the corkscrew network. Now, the Supreme Executive had to go to the #1 anti-jamming base in person. On the hall screen, the replicant shouted, "Executive, don't go. I have something to say to you. Don't go. I have something to say to you. You bad child. Don't go." The robots in the hall gathered around, only to be shot and destroyed one by one. That main door was opened. Once again, people felt despair. There were many intelligent police cars in the city, usually controlled by the Municipal Public Security Bureau's central computer. they were now all minions of the replicant. Nearly 100 intelligent police cars had completely blockaded the Great Hall. The number of police and soldiers arriving for reinforcement was very small. All roads leading to the square were clogged by various vehicles crashed under the replicant's control. An officer reported to the Supreme Executive, "There's no way out. Please go to the underground computer center. There's nothing you can do right now." No, she vaguely sensed there was still one hope. A faint rumbling sound penetrated from outside, like thunder on the horizon before a storm. Soon, streaking dots of light filled the night sky like a horizontal downpour, tens of thousands of roaring skybacks, to evade control by the police and traffic departments. Children had long since removed the computer remote control systems from their skybacks. Now, these skybacks became the only means of transport in the nation not controlled by the replicant. The skybacks landing in the square formed a wall of fire between the Supreme Executive and the intelligent police cars under the children's cover. The Supreme Executive mounted a skybacks and merged into the torrent flooding the sky above the square. Within this dense swarm of locusts, it was impossible for the intelligent police cars to find the Supreme Executive. One by one, the intelligent police cars ceased fire at this moment. There were 37 minutes left until the nuclear clearance time stipulated by the international agreement. A little over 10 minutes later, the Supreme Executive stood before the Corkscrew Network terminal, with 7 minutes left until the deadline set by death itself. Her finger pressed firmly down on the red line. The lights in the terminal room went out. The terminal went dark. History went black. An officer switched on a flashlight. At that same moment, 100 million flashlights flicked on across the nation. Engineers hurriedly replaced external memory by flashlight. Shadows moved within the central control room, as if returning to a distant era of war. Soon, all the lights came back on. The contamination in the central base had been cleared. The defense network had been activated. The national defense forces were all connected to the network. Most of the country remained in the darkness of the power outage. The consequences of the sudden, total loss of control over the industrial system began to manifest. Explosions everywhere. Towering fires spreading in all directions. It would take at least 3 days to fully restore power nationwide. It would take at least 10 years for the national economy to recover from this heavy blow. But the people's mood was joyful. They faced the star-studded night sky and let out a long, deep sigh of relief. The most terrible disaster had passed. Chapter 2. From the anti-jamming base, the Supreme Executive issued the first message to the international community. After the power outage, our country has, within the time limit stipulated by the Information Pollution Isolation Agreement, eliminated the pollution from the memory of the main computer network. The software nuclear bomb that resided in the main network no longer exists. The software nuclear bomb residing in external memory is also being rapidly cleared and destroyed. There is no danger of rediffusion. From this moment on, any nuclear device launched towards our national territory will be considered a nuclear attack on our country. In less than 2 minutes, she received a phone call from Moscow. Congratulations to your country for overcoming the software nuclear bomb. We are willing to provide as much assistance as possible to help you recover quickly from the trauma caused by the power outage. The first batch of our country's aid teams has arrived at the high border and is awaiting inspection by your border authorities. By the way, I'll tell you something. Joseph Stalin's grave was blown up. That seems unnecessary. The tomb built in the 1960s had poor moisture resistance. The remains inside turned to dust long ago. Besides, these people got it wrong. The one who entered the main computer network was just a very ordinary old man from our side. I didn't expect that. Anyway, I made those decisions under the threat of the software. I hope to receive your understanding. After a brief meeting between leaders, the chief scientific advisor brought a letter discovered while destroying the replicants. A letter from that already destroyed world in the main computer network.